Hello, my creative friends. Welcome back to Aesthetic Nest, your go-to place for fresh, small home decor ideas, 2025, and design inspiration that's as personal as it is practical. Today, we're diving deep into one of my absolute favorite design approaches, upcycling vintage finds to create a truly unique look in 2025, especially in small homes. Whether you're styling a 300 square foot studio apartment or a cozy cottage, the right mix of vintage charm and creative transformation can make your space feel bigger, warmer, and so much more you. This isn't just about making things look cute. It's about giving forgotten items a new lease on life, reducing waste, and creating something that no one else in the world has. Upcycling lets you transform a $20 thrift store dresser into a show-stopping statement piece, or turn your grandmother's old kitchen table into a sleek workspace that blends beautifully with eco-friendly interior design trends. In 2025, sustainable living in small homes is more than a trend. It's a way of life. Rising costs, environmental awareness, and a love for personalization are all pushing homeowners and renters toward budget home transformations that are impact and high style. Upcycling fits right in. It's cost-effective, green, and endlessly creative. Over the next several sections, I'm going to share a professional interior designer's approach to this art form, how to find the best pieces, choose the right ones for small spaces, transform them with practical techniques, and style them so they feel intentional and elevated. You'll get real examples from my projects, pro tips to avoid common mistakes, and fresh 2025 trend forecasts so you can stay ahead of the curve. So grab a notebook, settle in with your favorite drink, and maybe glance at that old chair in the corner that's been waiting for a makeover. Because by the end of this, you might just be ready to give it the transformation it's been dreaming of. Segment 1. Why vintage and upcycling shine in small homes. Small homes thrive on personality. Without sprawling square footage, every design choice stands out, every object matters. Vintage pieces naturally bring that richness because they have stories embedded in them. An Art Deco mirror doesn't just reflect light, it reflects decades of human history. A reclaimed vintage furniture idea isn't just a piece, it's a conversation starter, a mood setter, and a tactile reminder that good design lasts. Upcycling taps into that power and updates it for modern, small home living. Instead of hunting endlessly for the perfect new sofa that hundreds of other people will also own, you can rescue a 1970s love seat, reupholster it in organic linen, and instantly have something unique, sustainable, and perfectly scaled for your space. From a sustainability perspective, every upcycled piece means one less item in a landfill and one less new product that needs to be manufactured, shipped, and packaged. In a year where eco-friendly interior design trends dominate not just Pinterest boards but serious architectural conferences, the value of reusing and repurposing has never been more relevant. Small homes also benefit from the scale of many vintage designs. Older furniture often has slimmer legs, lighter frames, and more intricate proportions than today's oversized, mass-market designs. This makes it easier to fit into tight corners, narrow hallways, or multi-purpose rooms without overwhelming them. The 2025 interior design market is full of bold colors, warm metals, and textural contrasts, and vintage pieces naturally deliver all of these without you having to follow a cookie-cutter template. The mix of history, sustainability, and customization makes upcycling the perfect recipe for small home style. Segment 2. Treasure hunting. Finding the perfect vintage pieces. Let's be honest, half the fun is the hunt. In 2025, the treasure map for tiny home upcycling inspiration is bigger than ever. Thrift shops, flea markets, estate sales, antique malls, architectural salvage yards, online marketplaces like Facebook Marketplace and eBay, and my personal favorite, community by nothing groups. When you're hunting for pieces to upcycle, think like a designer. First, assess the bones. Is it structurally sound, solid wood or real metal? Does it have quality joinery or is it flimsy particle board? Vintage craftsmanship often means dovetail joints, mortise and tenon construction, and thicker veneers. All signs a piece is worth saving. Second, think about potential over-perfection. A scratched surface can be sanded, dated fabric can be reupholstered, but warped wood, deep mold, or severe rust can be expensive to fix and may not be worth the investment unless it's a rare gem. Third, size matters, especially in small homes. Look for space-saving design ideas, nesting tables, fold-out desks, slim profile chairs, vertical shelving. If a piece is too big, ask yourself if it can be cut down, disassembled, or reimagined into multiple smaller items. Finally, always measure before you buy. Keep a note on your phone with key measurements for your home, doorways, hallways, and intended spaces. There's nothing worse than falling in love with a vintage armoire, only to realize it won't fit through your apartment door. Segment 3. Designing with vintage in small spaces. Here's the thing. In a small home, design mistakes are magnified. If you've ever brought home a coffee table that looked fine in the store but felt like a boulder in your living room, you know what I mean. That's why designing with vintage in small spaces is an art in itself. The key: curate intentionally. Instead of filling every inch, think about breathing room. That vintage oak side table you scored at a flea market can shine more when it isn't competing with 5 other big pieces in the same corner. Mixing eras is where the magic happens. A mid-century teak console can look incredible under an ornate Victorian mirror, creating visual tension in the best way. This layered approach is trending heavily in eco-friendly interior design trends 2025, where the goal is to tell a story rather than stick to a strict aesthetic rulebook. Just remember, unify the scene with either color, material, or form so it feels intentional. Scale is everything. In small homes, I often pair vintage-style small spaces, furniture with modern storage solutions. For example, a 1940s writing desk might be narrower than today's standard desks, making it perfect for a bedroom office nook. But to make it functional for 2025's tech needs, I'll tuck a slim rolling cart underneath for cable management and accessories. Don't underestimate vertical space. An upcycled ladder bookshelf can become a plant display, storage for baskets, or even a mini home bar, without eating into precious floor area. Similarly, floating shelves made from reclaimed wood can add character above a sofa or desk while keeping surfaces clear. One of my golden rules: let every piece earn its place. In a small home, if something doesn't serve a purpose, functional, emotional, or aesthetic, it's taking up valuable real estate. Upcycled vintage items already have built-in personality, so they often pass the emotional test. The trick is balancing that charm with smart space planning so you never feel cramped. Segment 4. transformation and DIY techniques. Now comes the part I can't wait to share: how to actually transform your vintage find into a star piece for your small home. This is where Thrift Store Furniture Makeover 2025 becomes not just a key word, but a weekend passion. The right technique can take a tired dresser from drab to wait, "Where did you buy that?" in just a few days. Start with surface prep. For wood pieces, I almost always begin by giving them a light sand with 120 grit sandpaper, then a finer pass with 220 grit. This removes grime, smooths imperfections, and helps new finishes adhere. For metal, I use a wire brush to clear rust, followed by a metal primer. For fabric, I clean thoroughly or strip upholstery entirely. Painting is the fastest transformation tool, and 2025 is all about rich, earthy tones, deep olive greens, terracotta reds, muted clay pinks, and warm browns. Chalk paint and mineral paint are still favorites because they require minimal prep, have a velvety finish, and are low VOC, great for eco-conscious living. For a modern twist, I sometimes pair a painted base with a natural wood top for contrast. Hardware changes can make a huge difference. Swapping out dated handles for mixed metal pulls or reclaimed ceramic knobs can instantly modernize a vintage piece. I love sourcing these from architectural salvage yards, where you can often find old brass fixtures with gorgeous patina. For textiles, reupholstery is your friend. In a small home, a single reupholstered chair can be a focal point, especially if you use an unexpected fabric like vintage Killam rugs, indigo-dyed cloth, or hand-woven organic cotton. And here's a pro tip: when using patterned fabric in small spaces, stick to medium-scale prints. They make an impact without overwhelming. Segment 5: Styling and Layering for 2025. Now that your pieces are transformed, it's time to make them sing. Styling in small spaces is all about layering without cluttering. This means using textures, colors, and materials in a way that feels intentional. For example, if you've upcycled a console table, you might style it with a stack of design books, a small lamp with a linen shade, and a vintage brass tray holding candles and a small plant. One of the hottest small home decor ideas 2025 is functional styling. Instead of purely decorative objects, Opt for pieces that work double duty. Greenery remains a top trend. Plants bring life and movement to small spaces, and vintage vessels make them even better. Think old enamel pots, retro glassware, or reclaimed wooden crates. They add that organic, time-worn charm without feeling staged. Lighting is your secret weapon for mood. In 2025, warm, dimmable, layered lighting is in mix overhead upcycled pendants with small vintage table lamps, wall sconces, or even clip-on lights for shelving. This creates pools of light that make your small space feel cozy rather than cramped. And finally, leave breathing room. Not every surface needs an object. That negative space is what makes your vintage treasures stand out. It also keeps the room feeling airy, which is essential when square footage is limited. Segment 6. Pro-level space optimization with vintage. Small homes challenge us to think differently about storage and layout. Upcycling vintage furniture gives you the opportunity to create custom solutions that work perfectly for your needs. For example, I once turned an old buffet into a bathroom vanity by cutting a hole for the sink and sealing the wood. The storage it provided was far better than most modern vanities on the market. Convertible pieces are gold. A vintage drop-leaf table can be a compact console most of the time, then open up for dining when friends come over. A repurposed trunk can hold blankets, act as a coffee table, and double as extra seating in a pinch. If you're short on closet space, consider vintage wardrobes or armoires. Not only do they offer storage, but they can be painted or wallpapered inside for an extra design surprise. And because they're freestanding, you can take them with you if you move. Perfect for renters. Don't forget the kitchen. Vintage hutches, spice racks, and rolling carts can add charm while increasing storage. In a small kitchen, vertical storage is everything. Mounting an old pegboard or salvaged wood shelf above your counter can free up precious surface space. In short, think of every vintage upcycle as a potential multitasker. When it works hard for you and looks beautiful, you know it's earned its spot in your home. So there we are, small home style, upcycling vintage finds for a unique look in 2025. We journeyed from the enchantment of vintage pieces, through where to find them, how to plan them in small spaces, how to lovingly transform them, and finally how to style them in a way that's human, sustainable, and beautifully personalized. I hope you feel inspired, not just to change your decor, but to connect with your space more deeply. That each brush of sandpaper, each painted coat, each carefully placed object is an extension of your story. That your home becomes not just a place you live in, but a place that lives through you. If you're eager for more, I have a playlist of budget-friendly small home makeovers, DIY upcycling tutorials, and 2025's sustainable living tips. I'll link them right here in the video card and description. Your creative spirit deserves more fuel. I'd be honored to keep the flame glowing. Thank you deeply for spending this time with me. Until next time, may your little spaces grow full of character, warmth, and stories upward through 2025 and beyond. Be well, be creative, and happy designing.